Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down an expert framework that could literally be the difference between building your dream home and, well, a total financial nightmare. You know, building a custom home, it's a dream for so many people, right? It's one of the most exciting things you can ever do. But that whole dream, it all starts with one single, absolutely crucial decision: buying the right piece of land.
So you've been searching for weeks, maybe months, and then you find it. It looks perfect. Just a simple, beautiful, rectangular plot. You're walking the site, you can feel the sun, and you can already see your house sitting right there. Seems pretty straightforward, right?
But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. If you haven't gotten a proper survey, the reality of where your property lines actually are can be just shockingly different. That perfect spot you picked out for the living room? Yeah, it could be completely off limits, tangled up in invisible lines you had no idea were even there. And that is what we call the land buying minefield. It's a place where just one simple, wrong assumption can lead to catastrophic and super expensive mistakes. Okay, but what if you had a secret weapon, a kind of cheat sheet developed by an expert to help you navigate this whole thing safely? All right, let's get into it. This framework is called the BEADS Keystone. It was created by an expert home planner named Andy Bozeman. And this guy has poured over 50 years of real-world experience into this thing. 50 years. He's seen it all. So BEADS is an acronym, right? It covers all the big-ticket items you see here: boundaries, easements, drainage, the whole shebang. These are the critical questions you absolutely must have answers to before you even think about signing on the dotted line. And it's really important to know, this is just one piece of a much larger, incredibly comprehensive resource you can find over at homebuildingtimeline.com. To make this all really simple and easy to digest, we're going to group these critical items into three main areas. Think of it as your three-step investigation. First up, uncovering the invisible lines. We're talking about all the legal and spatial rules that you just can't see with your own eyes. These are the lines that dictate where, and sometimes if, you can even build at all. Okay, here is a classic and very expensive mistake people make all the time: misunderstanding setback lines. You might think the front setback is measured from the edge of the road, right? Nope. It's always measured from your actual property line, which could be way, way further back from the road than you think. And then there are easements. Oh man, these can be so tricky. You might look at a survey and see this single line drawn through the property. It's labeled Centerline 100-foot easement, and you think, okay, it's just a skinny little strip of land to worry about. Seems manageable. Wrong. And this is so crucial to understand. That line isn't the easement itself. It is the dead center of it. So that skinny strip is actually a massive 100-foot wide no-build zone. That's 50 feet on each side of that line. It could literally wipe out your entire building plan. Okay, so we've covered the invisible lines in the air. Now let's dig down and look at what's beneath the surface, what's in, on, and under the ground itself. You know, the stuff your home is actually going to sit on. Andy Bozeman is crystal clear about this. Drainage is priority number one, top of the list. It's the very first thing you have to figure out. You've got to know how water moves across that property. Does it turn into a swamp every time it rains? Does water from the street drain right to where your basement would be? Because let me tell you, trying to fix drainage problems after you've built is just insanely expensive. Here's a cool little trick: a bit of nature's own soil test. If you want a quick sneak peek at the soil deep underground, check out the anthills. Seriously, the dirt they pile up on top of the mound, they've dug that up from way down below, giving you a clue as to what your foundation will be sitting on. But, and this is a really important principle for this whole process, those clues are great, but they are never a substitute for a real professional. You've got to get a geotechnical engineer to do proper soil tests. They're looking for things you can't see, like expansive clay that can crack your foundation or unstable fill dirt. This test is absolutely essential to make sure your house will be solid for decades to come. All right, so part 3, knowing the rules. You figured out the physical property. You've uncovered the invisible lines. Now you need to understand the local rules that dictate exactly what you're even allowed to build. This is something a lot of people miss. Plot restrictions and local rules often have two totally separate sets of guidelines. There's one set of rules for the main house and a completely different set for other structures. Think detached garages, sheds, or a pool. For instance, the rules might say no front-facing garages on the main house, but a detached garage could be totally fine. You've got to read both sets of rules because you might find some really useful flexibility there.
So at the end of the day, after you do all this digging, this process really leads you down one of two very different paths.
And here's the warning, loud and clear. Ignoring even one small part of the BEADS Keystone is a huge, huge gamble. The source material doesn't mince words. Missing a single detail can quickly spiral into a nightmare of expensive errors, legal battles, and your dream home turning into a disaster.
But there's the positive path, and the conclusion here is just as clear. When you methodically follow this expert guide, you're not just buying land, you're buying peace of mind. You protect your investment, you get rid of nasty surprises, and you turn what could be a scary process into a confident, solid first step toward building your dream.
Now, if you want to dive deeper and get the full detailed checklist for yourself, the entire BEADS Keystone is laid out in the Kindle ebook, Get Ready to Build. Just hop on Amazon and search for the author, Andy Bozeman. It'll pop right up.
And that really leaves us with one final crucial question you have to ask yourself. Is that piece of land you've got your eye on a solid foundation for your dream, or is it a hidden trap for your wallet? You know, doing your homework here isn't just about dodging bullets. It's about making absolutely sure your dream starts right from the ground up.